Bloomberg's Maria Tadeo and Maria Hordern joining us now with more. Maria, I know you've been speaking with people over in Europe. Where is the main concern right now? Where is the balance of logic where people are basically honing in on in terms of the ramifications of what we saw over the weekend?
Look, there's a lot of question marks in terms of this deal. And the deal, of course, I referred to that alleged compromise that was reached out on the Saturday and negotiated by the head of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, between Vladimir Putin and Prigozhin. This deal is the reason fundamentally why Prigozhin and Wagner allegedly pulled back from Moscow. And the idea is that nobody would be prosecuted. There would be a sort of amnesty, and Prigozhin would head to Belarus, which, of course, is an independent, in theory, a separate country to Russia. Now, today, the Russian state media, however, says that they have not dropped the investigation into mutiny, and there are serious questions as to where it is or what are the whereabouts of Prigozhin. I think the other big question, that was made clear by the Secretary General today is this has ramifications in terms of what happens with Wagner and this group of mercenaries, which not only operate in Ukraine, but in a number of places in the world. The Secretary General also repeated, this is what happens when you have mercenaries fighting your war. And again, a message for NATO. As far as NATO is concerned, the key point now is to keep supporting Ukraine at this stage. Whatever they need, allies should now provide it.
And Marie, how much in Washington, D.C. is that the takeaway, that this gives Ukraine an advantage and to continue doubling down at this point? Or are you hearing a slightly different tone from the people in D.C.?
Well, I think Washington administration does think this opens the door a bit more for Ukraine to make strategic advances when it comes to Putin's invasion of their country, specifically because now, as Secretary of State Antony Blinken put it on a number of Sunday shows over the weekend, now what you have is Putin dealing with tension, and the most serious threat we have seen on him and his power since he came to power than he ever has. So he is dealing with a lot of internal politics, and what we play over the weekend was chaotic, a spectacle. Russians also lost their lives in what happened over the weekend. So now Putin's attention is going to have to be split. And that is why they think there's potentially this opening for Ukraine. But as Maria says, there are a number of questions that still remain unanswered regarding what happened in terms of this deal and where does this leave Putin and his military. Some analysts I'm speaking to also say potentially this will mean that Putin is going to become even more of a hardliner and really double down his aggression in Ukraine.